knows when you come out my way. That's why my field stays packed on Fridays. We hunting, fishing, good living, just soaking up every country second we're giving.
Hey, it's Justin Kelly and Laura Starling, Old Boots Podcast. Good morning. Our special guest today is Dusty Deaton. Hey, Dusty.
Hey, how y'all doing?
What's up, Dusty? How we doing, man? Glad to have you today.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me on here.
Yes, sir. We know you're a busy man and got a lot going on. We always seeing those funny videos of yours. And for everybody that doesn't know, Dusty is a comedian, and he's about to tell us a lot of things that's going on in his life and how it all started and that kind of thing. But man, he is tied in and got to meet a lot of interesting folks lately. And I was so excited when I heard that Dusty wanted to come be on the podcast and would join us. That was awesome, man. I appreciate you.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
We are excited to have you here. I got to meet you several months ago up in Milledgeville. And Dusty, I don't know a whole lot about you, so we want to start at the beginning about where you came from.
Well, I was originally born like in Macon, and then I went to school a little while in Lawrence County, and that's in Dublin. Moved back with my mom when I was probably 16 years old. Yeah, I was 16. Me and my wife met, and then I just started, doing your blue collar work type stuff. I messed around and got her pregnant at an early age. So, but we stayed together and worked it out, and then I came up just doing that. And then I've always been like the goofy guy at the party, or whatever, making people laugh. That's what I've always loved to do. And, like the funniest guy on the work at the job, whatever. But yeah, then it all happened to where it's funny because those things on Facebook you see, where you ask your spouse these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just had a memory pop up. It was like from 5 years ago, and it was a memory, and it was when I was asking my wife what, all these questions, and it said, if I ever become famous, what would it be for? And she put comedian.
I met Dusty. So me and my wife have been married right at it's 11 years, and I met Dusty. My wife is from Twiggs County, and I can remember trying to go out and meet my wife's friends, and we go out to this in the middle of nowhere out in like Jeffersonville or somewhere, I can't remember, but we're at this farm party. And Dusty is there, and he's got everybody just out there rolling and laughing. And that's where I met him, was trying to meet all my wife's friends. And, I knew there was something special about you back then, man. You were definitely the life of the party, for sure.
Yeah, I've always.
You guys when did y'all get married?
Me and my wife?
Yeah. No, you and your husband. Okay, that was me trying to be funny.
Oh,
Justin had just mentioned him and his wife, so I didn't know if I didn't know. But,
all right, okay, cut that part out.
So,
when did you get married to your wife?
Back in 2008 is when me and my wife got married. We started dating in 2006, and got just stayed together. And like I said, I messed around and got her pregnant, and I was 17. He was born 25 days after my 18th birthday. Matter of fact, today is my oldest son's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
wow.
How old is he?
Happy birthday.
17.
He's 17. Well, you don't even really look much older than 17 yourself, Dusty.
I just turned 35.
So you have one child or two, or?
I have two. I have a 9-year-old as well. So
do you see them? Do you see some comic stuff coming up in them? Are they into sports, or what kind of things do you see them trying to take on?
So my oldest son, he's more like his mama. He's real shy, laid back, and I talk about this a lot in my comedy skits. But he's more of his mama's child. He's real shy. He don't open up. He, quiet, good kid. Don't have liquor problems out of him. Now my youngest son, I definitely see him following into being a comedian, because it's funny because early in the morning, like I'm a morning person. When I wake up and my eyes open, I'm wide open, 100 miles an hour.
Right.
And my wife she's got to drink 3 cups of coffee, and, she's got to sit there a minute and, just get awake. And my youngest son, that's how my oldest son is. My youngest son, he's just like me. So we do this thing where when I wake up and if I hear him, it could be 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and I'll hear him up in there, like, woo, just make this goofy noise, and he'll do it back all the way from the other end of the house. And my wife's like, I ain't got time for y'all today. He's definitely my child. Like, why?
And it's something you kind of want to embrace, because I didn't realize it until like the last couple of years. But I heard Bert Kreischer say it. I've heard Joe Rogan say it. Theo Vaughn. Comedy is the last front, or the last frontier of free speech in America. I mean, they were the ones that kind of carried it through this rough patch that America went through these last few years, and comedy was under attack. So you kind of want to he might be a future soldier on the frontage of free speech, so you want to kind of embrace it.
Yep. And you still got, man, it's crazy though with social media and all, and you can't do comedy nowadays without social media. You've got to have. I'm not, and the people that support me and watch me on lives when I do it, they all know I'm not a social media guy. I don't like telephone. I don't like watching, talking to people through a telephone. I love nothing more than to go out there and meet the people and shake their hands for the people that will support me. Like, we just got back from Kentucky, man, had an awesome show. I don't know what the head count was, but it was a packed house. I'm sure you've seen some pictures on Facebook, but super packed house with me and Cletus T. Judd there, man. And we just had a great time. And Cletus is a outstanding guy too. He appreciates his fans, and people always ask me, well, I don't see a VIP option, or I don't see a meet and greet ticket. It's because I don't sell one. Because if you buy a ticket to see me, I'm going to personally, like when the show's over with, I'm walking out from backstage, I'm going to the merch table, and I'm shaking hands, taking pictures, signing stuff. It's still weird to say signing stuff. Like, the only time anybody's ever asked me to sign anything is if I got pulled over for speeding, and he,
right,
like me to sign here or something. That's it. So when people ask me to sign something, it's crazy to me. But
then you do it because, I mean, I can remember being a road manager for Rehab and Demon Jones, and they're out there thinking I'm part of the band, and they're all asking me for my autograph. Of course, I'm out there signing away. So I know you sign it because it does feel pretty cool that somebody does want you to sign something for them.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I just got my shirts going. Like, I've got Dusty Deaton comedy shirts. I've got these cool little koozies right here that
It's catching on.
Yeah, and I mean, we sold a. Matter of fact, I sold out of shirts this weekend. I think I've got 3 left that I've got to place another order for. Because, but yeah, I mean, just seeing people standing in line just to meet you is crazy. And but that's what I'd rather do, other than hold this telephone and talk to them. But I do it every night. For the most part, I'm live on TikTok or whatever, and just to talk to the people that come in there and support me, because you get on there and you see these creators that they do their lives, and they'll have 700 people in there, or 300 people in there, and they talking and rambling on about stuff. And people that really like their content talk to them, but they don't respond back. I try to read every single comment and respond. Right. People like it when you hear their name, especially when they think you're famous. As long as they think I'm famous, I'll be all right, I guess.
There you go.
Well, I was going to tell you a story from a long time ago with Aaron Tippin. I remember Aaron came to the Macon Coliseum, and after the show was over, and it was a sold out crowd. I mean, that's probably nine to 10,000 people. And after the show was over, he went to a table and he sat there and he signed autographs until the last person left. And that was a lot of people. And his road manager would be behind him and he'd be writing down information like people might bring Aaron a gift. And if they did, then the road manager, he would write down their name and address. And then Aaron would get on his tour bus and he would write personal thank you notes to people who brought gifts to him. My point about that is when you do that or something like that, or what you're talking about after the show, you're going to meet everybody. You're making a fan for life. They're never going to forget you. They're going to come to your show. They're going to buy your merchandise. They're going to follow you for the rest of your days.
That's what it's all about. Is I've always said, for me to get up there and for me to even get on stage, people to buy a ticket to see me, and for me to get on stage and talk and make money for me talking 30 minutes or an hour or whatever else just is mind boggling anyway. You know what I mean? Like, my wife gets tired of hearing me talk, and I've got people paying money to hear me talk.
Do you ever tell her that? Do you ever say that to her? What's your wife's name?
Brandy.
Do you ever go, Brandy, people are paying me to talk?
Oh, yeah. Hey, since I've started this, I say, you're ungrateful. You don't want to hear me talk. You're just ungrateful. There's people out there that want to hear me talk, and you just, but I give her a hard time. That's kind of our relationship is I give her a hard time. We have a good time together, and I say some stuff on stage that's, about her. It's jokingly, you know what I mean? It's a joking fun. People know that. And,
oh, yeah. I'm sure families of comedians have got to have some very, very, you got to have a clear understanding because there's some stuff like even Chappelle and those guys, they say stuff about their wives and their kids on stage. You already know it's not true, but I mean, they're saying it like it's true. And it's like, you got to have a good trust foundation going on at the house for some of the wild stuff that is said,
Yeah, like I said, I got a couple jokes about my wife, but she's a good sport with it. She knows. And like, man, on social media, we going back to that, I posted a video that I made. It's a 16-second video.
Right.
Okay. And the whole reason why we made the video was because my wife says, help me do a video that I can post on my TikTok to, try to grow mine. I'm like, all right, well, this video has done good for other creators because that's all social media is. If you look hard enough, it's people recreating other skits that people do. Besides Junebug, I don't know where in the world that come from, but for the most part, if you do like the "What Are You Doing" challenge, it's the same thing pretty much. And so I did this skit. I'm sure. I don't know if I can't say this, Justin, cut it out.
You can say it, man. Go ahead, man. That's the good part of podcast. You can say anything.
But I did a skit to where I handed her a piece of pizza. The pizza looks like it's dried out because it is. We bought a big pizza the night before at the hotel room, and the big box wouldn't fit in our refrigerator, the to-go box. So the pizza just got left out. So like the next day she wanted to make this video and I made the video. And I act like I pulled some of her hair out. And I was like, would you eat this pizza if it had hair on it? And she was like, no, why would I eat that pizza with that? And I was like, yeah, exactly. And I handed her a razor and said, go shave. I mean, it's a joke. It's a skit. Right. We recorded that video 7 times before she remembered what she was supposed to say. But it went viral. Like, my wife don't even have a following on TikTok. But that video got almost 300,000 views. And on my Facebook, it got 1.3 million views. And,
wow.
Man, there was so many people on there, like, ragging me. Like, you body shaming women. And you do. I'm like, what are you like? They said you have embarrassed your wife publicly. You have a big. I was like, why don't you? I said, okay, look, My wife still works a full-time job. So when me being at home, why don't you ask my wife who cooks her supper every night? Okay. Ask my wife who opens her car door every time she gets out of it. And then ask my wife, did that video embarrass her when it was her idea and she's got it on her, her TikTok. So social media is crazy.
They are, man.
You do have to have a thick skin if you're going to put yourself out there on social media. I mean, you have to, because no matter what you do, there's going to be some haters, and there are going to be some people who don't understand your comedy.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's just a big joke. It's, whatever, but there's all kind of people in there talking bad about it now, but I have thick skin. Like, you can't hurt my feelings. And I'll tell you why. You can't hurt my feelings on any video that you comment on, because the more you comment and the more you like, that's the more money I get. I am monetized on all social media platforms. So please hate away. That
There you go.
$1.3 million just bought me a steak. So thank you. Or 1.3 million views.
That's how it goes back to what we were talking about. You're the last frontier of free speech. I think in anything you do, except for Laura. Laura's pretty good at talking every morning and making everybody love her. But anybody else, including myself, the more I say or the more I post on Facebook, the more chances you have of somebody disagreeing with you and starting a chant against you. And so, with a comedian having to come up with edgy stuff and do a 30, 45-minute skit, you're going to have to say some dicey things, and you're going to make some people mad, especially in this super sensitive world we're living in, where every single thing's got to, frustrate somebody but that goes all back to that, man. Y'all are the last frontier for sure. Free speech for sure. You kind of alluded a minute ago to Junebug. For people that don't follow Dusty, of course, go follow him. But can you tell us about Junebug? Because I know about Junebug, and I don't even know if Laura knows about Junebug, but I know
about Junebug. I met Junebug back in Milledgeville.
I got you.
But so I really don't know how it happened. Again, I didn't like social media, but I was like, okay, at this point in life, if I want to do comedy, because way before Junebug ever came out, I had already opened up for Dare Night, Southern Mama. I had been doing comedy in a lot of open mic night bars, stuff, just trying out material. And that's how that happened, which we can jump back to that, how I got the Dare Night gig. But yeah, I said, all right, look, this is what I'm going to do. I bought a wig for the Georgia Bulldog, because like I said, I'm goofy, like to have a good time. Me and my wife went to the Georgia Ole Miss game, and I bought a wig. This was over a year, so this was not this past Ole Miss, but when they played in Athens. And I bought a wig, painted a little red in it, and I had this big Georgia chain. I bought all that for the Georgia game. Well, then one evening, I said, you know what? I had been drinking a couple beers, and I was out there on the porch grilling, and I said, I'm finna go get that wig, and I'm just finna make a goofy video. And I found some party teeth. I think my son got them from some birthday party or something. It's the ones. But I found these little party teeth, and I put that wig on, and I put on some old like country boy clothes, and I stood out there on the porch, and I set my camera up, and I just started yelling at my neighbor. I don't even have a neighbor, like over there, and I was just over there yelling. I was like, "Hey, Donnie, kiss my," and it went viral. And then I was like, "Okay, well, that might just be once in a lifetime." And then I made another one, and then, man, next thing you know, dude, I monetized my account on Facebook, and now I'm at like 65,000 followers on Facebook, and that's in about an 8-month span. I'm at I don't know what I'm at on Facebook down with you. 58,000, I think, on TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started, man, with Junebug. And then how it started with the jail scenes was, y'all know Amanda Meadows, real good friend of mine. she does them skits, you know, and she said, you ought to call me. Like I did some jail videos or whatever. She said, you ought to call me from jail. I said, okay. So I called her from jail, and then that one went viral. And now I've tried to get away from jail. I've tried to venture out and let Junebug get in trouble somewhere else, or even skits of getting pulled over, but the algorithm don't push it. If I don't have that green screen up with me in jail, the algorithm. So I guess Junebug is just a criminal.
Old jailbird.
Yeah.
So everybody that don't know who he was talking about with Amanda Meadows, I know everybody's seen her, at least when you're scrolling through and flipping through videos. The lady with the blonde-haired wig that smokes the pen as a cigarette, and she lives in the trailer park, and you know she does some running around and that kind of stuff. So you and her are pretty good buddies.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we talked on the phone a little bit when I was on the way to Kentucky. Yeah, she lives. I wish she lived closer. Y'all would have a lot more Junebug and Amanda Meadows skits, but
right.
Or Junebug and Charlene, shall I say?
Charlene, that's right.
Probably some of probably the best time we've ever had together was my wife's birthday is in May, and last year we went to Myrtle Beach for her birthday, and Amanda Meadows happened to see we were going to Myrtle Beach, and she was like, "Hey, we thinking about coming." I said, "Y'all come on." So we all partied, me, my wife, her and her husband. You know, we hung out, had a good time, and me and Junebug and Charlene actually had a night on the town in downtown Myrtle Beach, and we had some people that didn't know who we were that were looking at us like we have none lost our mind. You know, but we had a good time, and it's fun. She's a lot of fun, and but yeah, that's kind of how we met. As I did a show with her in, I guess, January. I did a show. I met her in Kentucky, and she just happened to be there, and that was before Junebug as well. Right. So I did a lot of stuff before Junebug ever came about. I've opened up with Comedic Cody, which has got a big following on TikTok. Darren Knight. So yeah, I mean, and you know, of course, a lot of the open mic nights and stuff like that. And then I went on a little small tour with Steady Eddie and Gary Cargill, and so yeah, the social media is what has really gave me a name, because out of all those shows, I used to still have fun with it, because when I would do shows, man, what I would do was I would walk out. Like when I was with Comedic Cody, I would walk outside, even though I was backstage. I'd go around the building and walk and stand in line and ask people for tickets, because I knew the show was sold out.
Right.
Nobody there knew who I was. So I would try to buy people's tickets from them and tell them that, you know, well, I'm a real big George Strait fan, and I really need to see his concert. And they're like, George, what are you talking about? This is a comedy show. I was like, dude, the Uber driver told me George Strait was here, you know. And I would just mess with everybody like that. And it built a relationship, because they didn't know I was part of the show. So whenever I come out there on stage in front of 500 people, then they're like, oh, shit, that's the dude that was standing there trying to get my ticket.
Right.
That is fantastic. That is a fantastic idea. First of all, it's a great way to meet people, but yeah, it's putting you in their memory. They're never going to forget that, and they're going to be like, I met that guy before the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that is, I miss doing that. If I could say one thing that I miss doing before people knew who I was, would be that. I miss doing that. I had so much fun doing that. Like when I opened up for Darren Knight, it was in Atlanta, Georgia at Center Stage, 1,000 people, sold out show. I was in the audience photo bombing people. So before the show.
And for people that don't know, you know, Darren Knight, I don't know if he's still doing the big shows like that, but at one point he come to like the auditorium and sold it out. And so if you put that in comparison, like Cat Williams, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 greatest comedians ever to live. He just went to the Coliseum, which is just twice as big as the auditorium. So, I mean, the greatest comedians in the world are just filling up Coliseum type stuff, 5,000-6,000 seats. So you were on a big tour. You were on a big show right there with Darren. I mean, that's a big deal. And
Yeah,
comedy.
Man, I'll tell you a funny story about when I did that with Darren. So I started out in open mic nights. I had met Darren previous, awesome dude. Like love him to pieces. Like I'm telling you, he's a really good dude, down to earth. Kind of never forgot where he came from. You know what I mean? He's super nice guy. And so when I met him, I remember when he came to Macon, he was at the what's that, Capitol Theater downtown Macon?
Yeah, Capitol Theater.
Yeah, he was at Capitol Theater, and me and my wife went. I bought, even though I knew him, I didn't say, "Hey man, let me get a free ticket." Let me, you know what I mean? I bought him. Me and my wife bought a ticket, and we got there late, and I'm pretty sure it was because she wasn't ready. But we got there kind of late. There was a line of people. The show was sold out completely. There was a line of people waiting to get in at the door. So we're like 372 person in line back there. And I never texted him on. I took a picture and sent it to him on Snapchat. I took a picture of it, said Darren Knight, Southern Mama and Friends tour or whatever. I sent it to him on Snapchat, and then about an hour later, about 30, 40 minutes later, he texted me and he goes, "Hey man, where you at?" I'm like, "Man, I'm up here in the doggone nosebleed section. The bottom row done sold out before we, got our tickets." And he was like, "I need you to come back here with me." I said, "Dude, they ain't gonna let me walk backstage." So Darren sends his t-shirt guy he's like, "Look, meet this guy here. It's my t-shirt dude." He sends the guy out there, takes me and my wife backstage. So we got to hang out with him all backstage, and I sat down, and he goes, "I've been watching a lot of your stuff you've been sending me. You ready to open up for me?" And man, my heart stopped for a minute. I was like, "Yeah." And the date that he wanted me to open up for him, my friend was getting married. And I was in the wedding. And
if you're in the wedding, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, like I was in the wedding and my wife was in the wedding. So I was like, ugh. I was like, "Dude, I can't. I can't do it that day." And then he was like, "Well, I am coming back to Atlanta." And we didn't have nothing going on that day. I said, "All right, that's the day then. I'm ready." And so, yeah, I opened up for him in Atlanta at Center Stage, which I think's where Wild 'N Out was filmed at. But I opened up for him there, man, and it was all like I looked at the stage or I went on stage before everybody got there, looked at the seats, and it didn't look that big. You know what I mean? It didn't look that bad. I was like, man, I was pumped. We go backstage, and I don't know if you've ever been Center Stage, Justin, but the doggone backstage, man, is probably, you can just imagine the stage being at the front of Walmart and the backstage being back there where the electronics is in Walmart.
Right.
It's that far away.
Oh, yeah.
If you've ever been to a Darren Knight show, he's got the DJ playing, Well, when we was backstage, man, we couldn't hear none of that. So we was just having a good time, goofing off, joking. And I still remember sitting there and they said, "Hey, like 10 minutes to showtime." It's all right. So, which I think is really cool about Darren Knight too, is right before the show, when it's about showtime, everybody holds hands and we get in a circle and we pray. That's
awesome.
So we did that, man, and then like my adrenaline still wasn't up. I was just excited, And I can tell you this though, when we started walking to the stage, man, and I started hearing the DJ interact with the crowd, and I started hearing the crowd, I said, "Oh, that's a lot of people." And I told my wife, I said, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this." She said, "You ain't got no choice." So I can't tell you what I said on stage that night, but I do know my knees was knocking as I was walking up the steps to get on, because that was by far my biggest performance that I have ever done. And I got this little one-liner that I start my jokes off with, just to, grab somebody's attention real quick. And when I said that, dude, and I heard laughter, it was just like, ease, and I can't tell you what I said from there. But I know I'm pretty sure I went over the little allotted time I was supposed to be in. But yeah, that was an awesome show, man, and that I will always remember that, and I'll always be grateful for Darren for letting me, do that with him. So I try to give it back, man. Like every time I do the my hometown show. Right. Last year we did the Old Whiskey River. Remember the old comedy club?
Yes, yes.
We did the old comedy club building last year and sold it out and ended up having standing room only in there. So yeah, that was a good time. But I always use somebody that I started out with at the open mic nights to open up for us. That's who I've always used. The last 2 times I've been there, I've used somebody from the open mic nights to open up.
And that's a fantastic thing for those people too, because they watch you and they've seen what you've accomplished and it inspires them. And then to be able to open up for you, that's like, whoo, I get to open up for Dusty.
Did you ever think you'd have somebody celebrating, open it up for you? Ain't God good?
I never would have thought that anybody would have. I mean, I'm telling you, it blows my mind. I swear it does. As far as like, because see, I mean, where I live at, man, a little small town, I can go to the daggum Dollar General and everybody treats me just like everybody else, and I can go down there to my little local convenience store and everybody treats me like everybody else. But then I go to Kentucky this past weekend and I check into the hotel, and as soon as I walk in the door, when you go into a hotel, man, you've got to show your ID and write your license plate number down, sign paperwork. You got to do the normal stuff when you check into a hotel. Mm-hmm. As soon as I walked into the hotel, the woman goes, "Dusty Deaton." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "I thought that was you." And then I'm like, "Yep." And she says, "Here, you're in room 217. And like hands me my key, and that was it.
Oh, that's sweet. Awesome. That's nice.
And then the women up there, man, all the women watch me in Kentucky at the hotel that I stay at. All of them watch me. They're super sweet, love them to death. I actually left them a big surprise. I left them all Dusty Deaton comedy keychains in the room when I left, and wrote them a little note and signed a little poster board for them. But
so you go up to that place a lot in Kentucky, that particular place you was with, or is that just something you kind of scored with Cletus T. Judd, or?
So the place in Kentucky is, I went there with Billy Hubbard, and that's also where I met Charlene back January the 6th of 2024. So that was pre-Junebug. I went up there and did that show with them, and then Michelle, who owns that venue, she's a super awesome woman. Like me and her kind of hit it off real good, and then when I got on tour after Junebug with Steady Eddie and Big Fat, when it was all of us together, we went back to Kentucky and had a great show there with just our little tour. And then she calls me one day and she goes, "Guess what?" I said, "What?" She said, "Do you want to open up for a big comedian?" I said, "Of course." She was like, "Well, I didn't even tell you who it was." I said, "I don't care." Like, yeah, of course.
Absolutely, I want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, I don't care who it is. Yeah, I want to open up for a big comedian. So she was like, "Well, it's Cletus T. Judd." And I was like, that's funny. She goes, "What, you excited about it?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's funny. It's crazy how things work, because me and Cletus didn't plan none of these shows together. As far as, it was just our way." That's why I said, who knows what's going to happen. I hope something happens of it. I mean, I like Cletus. He's down to earth, and we have a good time. But prior to that, a venue in Arkansas that I did where you're at now, Justin. So a venue I did back in December. Yeah, December. He booked me for December, and then he had a big golf tournament in October. So he calls me. He goes, "Hey, man, I didn't know you played golf." I said, "Yeah, every day." And he said, "Well, look, I'm having this tournament come up October the 30th, October 20. night, October 20th. So I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But he said, would you like to be a special guest in the tournament? I said, yeah. Go play a golf tournament somewhere else? Yeah, I'd love to. And then he said, partner's going to be Cletus T. Judd. So
Small world.
I was like, hey, come. All right. So me and Cletus go up there and we play in the golf tournament, man. And because I had been listening to Cletus T. Judd since I was like 10.
Absolutely. Me too. Me too.
You know, like since I was 10 years old, I've been listening to Cletus T. Judd. And like, I remember watching him on CMT. You know what I mean? Like when
dressed like a woman and doing all the funny stuff.
Yes.
And I mean, for everybody that don't know, Cletus T. Judd is a like a country comedian that used to do kind of spoof songs about just funny stuff. He would take a country song and redo the lyrics, kind of like him and Weird Al Yankovic, I guess, are the only two people that really got big doing that. But he's a legend in not only country music, but I would call that country music and comedy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's a legend.
He's been around Macon several times and hung out, and a super, super guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. So I hope, you know, I mean, we got each other's phone numbers and everything, and he's texted me a couple times. And I told him backstage when we was in Kentucky, I said, look, man, anytime you need me, like, you need an opener, because he don't travel with an opener. So anytime you need me, just call me, you know. So I'm available to go anywhere, and we'll see what comes out of it. We'll see.
I think I met you right before you were going to that golf tournament. Do you remember that? Because you told me you were going to be going to play golf in the tournament with Cletus T. Judd. But what I want to know is how was y'all's golf game?
I think there was 20 teams in it. I've got the daggum screenshot of it. I can't remember because it's back in October. My memory's terrible. I've got the screenshot of it. I think there was 20 teams in it, and I think we finished third.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was a 4-man scramble. So if you don't know what a 4-man scramble is there's 4 players on the team, and then everybody plays. Like if I hit the ball down the middle of the fairway and everybody else hits theirs in the woods, we all 4 play my ball. So it was like that. And our other 2 people we had was, of course, the guy that owned that venue in Arkansas. Him and his wife was mine and Cletus T. Judd's partner. So, but yeah, we got 3rd place out of it. I know for a fact. I can't remember what we shot though. That's what I was trying to remember, what our score was. But yeah,
very cool.
Was there any prize? Was there any prize money, or was it, I think it was a charity event, wasn't it?
It was to raise money for unpaid lunch balances at the local school.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and then Cletus T. Judd, he had a show that night afterward. After the golf tournament, he done a show, and I wasn't scheduled to do a show, but I told Daniel, I said, man, if you want me to, I'll kind of host it for you. He said, man, I'd appreciate that, because if I ain't got to get up there, the better, you know. I said, yeah, I'll host the show for you. Ain't no big deal. So I got up there and got to introduce Cletus T. Judd, which thought it was awesome to play golf with him and then get to introduce him for a show, even if I wasn't performing. And then, like I said, fast forward, just that was in October. I think it was around late November when the venue in Kentucky called me and was like, do you want to open up for a bigger comedian? You know? And then it turned out to be Cletus T. Judd. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. You know, small, like Justin said, small world. But
oh yeah,
I just try to stay positive about everything, man. You never know. That could be a sign. You know what I mean? Like, how can I open up for this guy or be with this guy twice after been listening to him for all these years since I was like 10 years old? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And even if it don't nothing ever come of it, if I don't never do any more shows with him, I can write that on my resume. How many people could say they played golf with Cletus T. Judd and then done a show with him, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, talking about charity, we always talk about doing good things on here, and I know you got a heart for kids. I know that every time we do our big yearly fundraiser in Gray, you always spread the word. You always share it on your social. You always, partake. But have you done some shows, or what's some kind of event that you can remember that kind of stands out for some good cause that you raised some money for?
I guess, because I ain't.
You ain't been doing it very, very long. So
Yeah,
hey, the lunchroom thing might be it,
Yeah, I think that paying the unpaid lunch balances when I went to Arkansas was that's there because, like I said, I'm still kind of fresh into this whole.
Yeah.
I've been doing comedy a while, probably about 2 years, but as far as being a ticket seller in comedy, I mean, man, you talking 8 months, I guess. What I can tell you when it was my first show. When Junebug came out and I had the very first show, man, I remember it and I'll never forget it. I'm not a very emotional guy as far as like crying emotional wise, you know what I mean and stuff. But I'm telling you, my wife had to come backstage at the show in Macon because that was the first show that I've done when I brung Junebug. When Junebug got created, that was the first show we booked, was the hometown show. Let's see how it goes. And when we pull up to the venue, man, there was probably 30 people already waiting in line to get in. And I was there an hour and a half early. So you got people that was already standing in line, and we was kind of walking finna go in. You had their security there making sure, you know what I mean, to let us in the door and all. And as I was walking in, a guy, people was Dusty, and a guy says, Dusty, I walked 45 minutes to see you.
I walked from 7 Bridges to Whiskey River to come see you, man. You better come hug my neck.
he walked, man, he walked all the way from Warner Robins.
Wow.
Yeah, he walked.
Man.
And that day, it was a thunderstorm, man. Like, it was bad. Like, it was raining. We had tornado warnings. And that was April the 20th of last year is when that was. So, I'm coming up on my year,
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
And I got super emotional about that, man. Like, people, because people just knew who I was, you know what I mean? Like, they were me, and it's crazy. Now, I did have Big Fat with me, which he's got 2 million followers on TikTok. I had Steady Eddie with me, who's got a big following. I wasn't saying everybody was there for me, but when that guy said that to me, it kind of stopped me dead in my track. And I told him, I said, man, if you walk that far to see me, don't leave this show until I leave, because you ain't walking back. I'm going to buy you an Uber.
There you go.
So.
Did you give him a T-shirt too?
I didn't have T-shirts at that time. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just got into making merch. You know what I mean? I never was one to have it. Like, who the hell wants to wear something with my name on?
Who wants a Dusty Deaton T-shirt?
Yeah,
and now they want them, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I can't. My wife won't even wear one. So what makes me think somebody else?
I know what you mean, but it's a good thing, man. It's a growing experience, and I feel like you're gonna meet some more people. I've always thought, ever since you've been doing the comedy thing, and I've been really following him, man. I really think if you and the mailman ever hook up, you and little OG Stank, I think y'all would yin and yang on a stage, man. I think y'all would kill it, man. I believe y'all would just kill a whole comedy theater one night. That would be awesome. Hopefully one day that can happen for you.
I was talking to him, man, before he kind of got big, like real big. He's doing his thing. He's done got a whole booking team now. So ain't no telling who I'm going to open up for or who I'm going to meet in this journey, because I've actually just signed with a booking agency. So we'll see what happens.
And that shows you how quick things can take off. I mean, he went from a 95 Mustang parked out in the middle of the hood across the street from a cemetery making videos in his driveway to all of a sudden, I mean, he's booked for a year. I mean, everywhere, all over the country. So that shows you how quick that can happen for you. Yeah.
It can really happen overnight. Really, you get aligned up with the right people. And, there's one comedian that I'm trying to hook up with. I think she's funny as crap. I don't know if y'all know who Shelly Belly is. But
I hadn't heard of her, but I'm gonna look her up.
Yeah, now we got to look her up and see who she is.
Yeah, Shelly Belly's she's hilarious. So she travels all over. Like her schedule is booked Like she's big. She's got like 2 million followers on TikTok. And I feel cool. Like everybody thinks I'm cool. My wife's got this friend, Amanda, and me and her husband are real good friends, and we play golf together and all, but they're real good friends of ours. And every time, I remember the first time I was on TikTok live or whatever, that she was in there, that our friend was in there, and then Shelly Belly pops in and go, "Hey, Dusty, I hope you're doing good." Man, I thought she was like, "You know Shelly Belly?" Like she was freaking all out, like, because she's a huge Shelly Belly. So it's
that's good stuff, man.
But I tell you, man, it is kind of weird because sometimes, like, you got to remember, like, people paid money. You know what I mean? Like, people come to see you too, so you can't fangirl Cletus T. Judd. Like, that's what I was telling my wife. Can't be fangirling Cletus back there,
right?
You know. So just kind of talk like, you know, like with normal people and hang out and stuff like that. But so Laura knows who Junebug is, and Justin, I know you said you watched the videos and all that, and I'm finna tell y'all something funny about Junebug.
Okay.
Right. I don't know how it happened, but 90% of Junebug's fans are older women.
You gotta love it, man.
What are you saying? What are you saying to me, Dusty?
No. I ain't meaning it like that, Laura.
I know. I'm just messing with you. But I think you and I did talk about that you have a large percentage of older women who are big fans of Junebug.
And I'm telling you, I am so grateful that like they did it, because I mean I feel like what they did deserve for me to talk about them on this podcast, because I'm sure she'll watch it when I share it out. I had a lady, her daughter, and I think some friends, or I think there was 6 of them total. She follows me on Facebook, and they drove all the way from like Cleveland, Ohio to Kentucky to meet me. I think it was like 8 hours. And so, yeah, they, you know, just, it's crazy that, you know, people would do that. And then I had, but most of my fan base is like older women, and I tell them all the time. And again, if I can't say this, you cut it out. But
nah, you can roll with it.
I mess with them all the time, and I tell my wife, like, you know, when we sat over, because you know Junebug's personality, he's wild, he's you know, like just goofy and ready to go. So I tell these women all the time when they come over there and tell me I love Junebug, and I, you know, this and that, and like they'll get, them old women can be a little wild, them older women, and I told him, I said, "Hey, you put me on that life insurance policy, baby. Hey, mess around, baby. You're going to meet Jesus tonight, you know?"
I hear you.
I just goof off with him. I'm Junebug, and my wife just sits over there, and she's like, "Oh, Lord, have mercy."
Well, I can tell you you know, this year going to be episode 14. Is that right, Miss Laura? Laura, you there, Laura? We dropped Laura. Let me invite her back in.
There you go. Say she joined.
There we go. You back? You there,
Well,
Laura?
I don't know what happened. Some you know, one of those calls where they're trying to scam you, tried to get in our podcast.
That's right. Well, I was just going to tell him, you know, this is what, episode 14, is that right?
Yes.
All right. So, you know, it's early on in our podcasting, so there's no telling where this is going to, because we've got some pretty famous folks we about to, you know, be interviewing in April and May. Very, very big, you know, they got some big followings. And so, but I would like to, like, let's make it a point to this time next year when all this pops up on your memories, let's do another podcast together and let's track how far along you came, man, because I know when you put your mind to stuff, it happens. And I feel like things are just getting in line for you. They're just about to really take off to the next dimension. And I would really like to, you're the first person we are inviting back I mean, maybe not going to be the only one, but you're the first person I'd like to say, hey, let's do this in a year. Let's get back with you. Even if it's just a 20 or 30-minute check-in, because by then you might be too big for us. You might, Cletus might be opening up for you. So you never know.
And if you don't answer your phone, we're going to be mad.
Right.
I guess that's one good thing about being a comedian. We ain't got to do all the sound checks. We ain't got to have a drummer. I just need a microphone and a speaker.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
Well, Dusty,
listen,
I appreciate. Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us today. It's fun. I had fun meeting you a couple of months ago, and been on the Facebook Live with you. I was like excited because you mentioned my name.
Well, Laura, you're a legend in my eyes. Anyway, I can't tell you how. I mean, I guess how long you been on at WDN?
43 years.
Yeah, and I'm 35, so I've probably been listening to you ever since I was old enough to touch the button on the radio.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
But I mean, I'm just saying though, it's still, it doesn't matter who it is. It's still a thrill when like you're doing that Facebook Live. And I know I was watching Demon Jones the other night. He was going to get in his cold swimming pool, and he says, "Oh, hey, Laura Starling," and then you did the same thing on your live. It's still cool.
Yeah, because the only thing that I wish you would do better for me, Laura, on the radio is stop going caller 3, try again, and hang up my face.
I don't hang up though. I will tell you that's one thing I don't do. I do this all the time. I say, WDEN, you're caller number 3. Try again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then click.
And then I click.
No, I was just messing with you. That was a joke. But I actually watch y'all podcast. I've watched several episodes of them. And I seen the one where Justin recorded that backstage, and I watched the little how the caller 9 works and all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always fun. Anytime I go to the radio station, I'm like, what can we give away this morning? Can we do a call number 9?
Yeah. I'm trying to get
Dusty.
to the point. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to get to the point to where I can come to Macon, and then y'all are giving away tickets to like my show or something. Because I guarantee you, if I come back to Macon this year, and you say we're giving away some Dusty Deaton comedy tickets right here, you won't have 9 people call.
Oh, I guarantee you that we'll have 9 people call. And, you know, if you do a show, then you can come on down and just be on the radio and you can take the calls.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But we thank you very much for taking time with us, and we hope we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank y'all. Yeah. Maybe we can, like Justin said, maybe we can get together next time. Let's do it when we're in person. We'll have a lot more fun.
Yeah. And let's don't
Sounds
forget
good.
what Justin always says at the end of every podcast, okay? Justin says, don't forget, if you can do something good, you should do something good.
Junebug, you back already? Yeah, I'm back, man. So, hurry up, do what you got to do, man. Hurry up, book me in and all that, so I can make my one phone call, because I'm sleepy. I'm ready to go to bed, and I didn't even do nothing this time. It wasn't my fault. They brought me in because I had a dishonorable concert. No, disorderly conduct. Conduct? I ain't never conducted nothing in my life, dude. He's lying.